Hi guys, it's Becky Doyle, author in the Debunking Addiction blog on HealthyPlace.com. Today I want to talk about self-sabotage and why we do it as alcoholics. What's the reason behind it? I have some personal experience with this, as most alcoholics that I know, and I think it's an important topic that impacts not only us, but our loved ones. And I'd just like to start out by pointing out that I discover self-sabotaging behaviors of my own all the time. It is a regularly occurring habit, and that I have to remain vigilant to notice it and to take action to correct it. Most of the time, when I'm self-sabotaging in one of many ways, it's because I'm feeling stressed about something that I have to do or something that's going to change in my life, and that creates a lot of anxiety and fear for me. And most of the time, I don't notice it right away. And the way that I do notice it is if I'm facing a really tough decision, and I don't make any big decisions without making a spreadsheet or a checklist, because that's just kind of who I am. But I'll tell you, it's really helpful when battling self-sabotage, and I'll explain why. Because when I sit down and I look at a column of all of the reasons that it's a good choice and all of the reasons that it's a bad choice, it makes it so much easier to see when I am trying to make a decision and twist the circumstances because I have fears and I want to make that decision based on fears. And that's a really, really bad choice. It's always, in my experience, making a decision or taking an action because of a fear that I have is a weakness. And it's something that I learned in early recovery, that I shouldn't let fear get in my way, because there's nothing I can't do. And it's not like I'm Superwoman and I can handle anything that comes my way. But because of my sobriety and the people that support me in my life, I know that if I need help, they're going to be there and they're going to help me through it, whatever it is that comes up. And I learned that in early sobriety because when I was getting sober, I didn't think that I would be able to make these changes in my life. I didn't think that I was going to be able to maintain it, or that I was going to be able to face the problems that I was experiencing in the real world. And I was completely overwhelmed by it. And through practice and trust and faith, I learned to just do the next right thing, one step at a time. By doing that, I could avoid the behaviors that would cause me more problems later on, like procrastination or I almost want to say intentionally picking fights, although it was never really intentional. But creating tension and drama with people around me for whatever reason, just so that I could say, see, I knew that they didn't really like me, or I knew that this wasn't going to work out. It's almost as though, for me, the self-sabotaging behavior is a default for me to be able to maintain control over things that are happening in my life. Because then I can say, if I self-sabotage something, on the other side, I can say, oh, well, I didn't want it to happen this way, or I wanted it to be this way. And I don't become the victim. Does that make sense? If I intentionally ruin something or cause problems, it's because I wanted it to be that way. It was my choice. And that way I don't get hurt. I mean, I hurt myself, but I don't get hurt by somebody else and then have to deal with that trust issue later on. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but that's been my experience with self-sabotaging and why I've done it in the past. I hope that, if you start wondering yourself about, am I making a right choice, or am I just self-sabotaging something good in my life? You try doing what I do, which is make a list of all the reasons that it's good and all the reasons that it's not good. And then you can see where your fears are. And wherever there are the most fears are generally, that's not the choice that you want to go with. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks, guys.